previous video, we talked about what superminds are and what they can do. This time, we will become a lot more practical. We will look at how to build a supermind. So just to remind everyone, a supermind needs to do four things. It needs to deliberately connect a network structure. It needs to set goals and incentives. It needs to provide information feeders to avoid insularity. And it needs to provide the system, the network really, with a collaboration environment. We will go into each one of these in detail now. First, how do you engineer a supermind by illuminating the network? The nodes, be they machines or humans in the network, may find it difficult to connect and discover each other. Some examples of how to do it. Google's knowledge graphs. Google's knowledge graphs have been in use for quite some time. In this example, for instance, we are looking at Eureka, which is an intergovernmental organization. This text that you see here doesn't exist anywhere. It has just been collated by the engine, the Google search engine, to make it easier for people to read, but the source knowledge is in plenty of different places. A company that does that is available for usage by anyone, is Diffbot. So it's really a bot that goes and identifies components of knowledge and stitches them together in a way that you can get what you need from the web. What can you do for your network? I suggest that, for example, you identify, say, 2,000 people and 200 organizations in your space. Then you go and find 3 to 4 adjacent spaces, and you systematically follow them and potentially make contact with them so that they know that you exist, you know that they exist. Second, setting goals and incentives is extremely important. Networks are organic, so they have a life of their own. For example, movements can go in pretty unintended directions. So setting goals and incentives is extremely important. One example is the use of Web3 technologies, actually a good use of Web3 technologies, to incentivize networks of data scientists and data providers and others to improve the quality of carbon offsets based on nature. But this uses collaborative data science and uses incentives to direct the attention of the network to the right places, to validate, but also to complement existing knowledge. So how do you set goals and incentives? First, you can define a North Star, a story that brings you all together. Set norms that people will respect and enforce onto each other so that the network works together properly. Then help with rewards. For example, crowdfunding. Praise collective contribution, make it become a culture. Be inclusive of non-traditional contributors. Third, create an information feeder. For example, GDELT has all the world news media in more than 100 languages. It monitors what is published on the web every moment of every day. It translates everything into English and make it searchable to anyone. Another example is enterprise learning for digital transformation. Imagine an IT services company that needs hundreds, thousands of people to learn the new ways of modifying, transforming, digitizing processes. The way to do that is to bring the knowledge from outside into the company by creating collective intelligence, by harnessing and harvesting the power of communities, as opposed to just doing the traditional acquisition of external courses. The contextual knowledge that is created by that acquisition of knowledge when it comes into the company is super important and super useful for people who can then connect the dots with their current work, between the current work and the new technology that comes in. Another example is Gian AI. It's an AI tool that helps categorizing and structuring new knowledge when, for example, you do research on a specific topic. So this example of citizen science is a domain. The tool breaks down the domain into its subcomponents. It provides visibility on the most interesting content that exists out there. And then it summarizes and highlights, rather, the most important and most interesting elements of each one of those documents. So how do you create your own information feeder? First, curate maybe 500 sources from people, newsletters, and just bring that into your network. Search the periphery of your network. Very often, the most interesting ideas are the ones that sit between you and what you do and what your network does, and adjacent environments. And then enable your community to continuously do that work for you. Curation is a team sport, and also contribution of sources can be. And then make it easier for people to collaborate. So this, for example, is the construction of a network for casual encounters. It's called Spark Moments. The problem at hand is that after COVID and the rise of hybrid and flexible work, our network structures have changed. So beyond the strong ties, those are the people you interact with every day, sits a much larger network of weak ties that may not make your daily work more feasible, but certainly are important for the transmission of new ideas and culture. Those weak ties in flexible, partially remote world of work tend to suffer unless they are intentionally reinforced. And so what this company did was to use network analysis based on the Microsoft Office 365 stack, taking the network structures that that tool calculates, and provide through a scheduling assistant, literally a bot that schedules very short encounters, 15 minutes at a time, at short notice, almost replicating the water cooler moments. And it does it in a way that is completely seamless. That helps reinforcing those weak ties. So what can you do to make it easier for people to collaborate? First of all, embrace flexible and hybrid work. Make sure that you pay attention to both synchronous type of work, which is a meeting in which you see people in real time, as well as asynchronous type of work that happens, for example, on Microsoft Teams or Slack or on Notion, or if you're a data science person, on Jupyter. And embrace the fact that some of the work is regular, regimented, some of it is serendipitous, accidental. You need to try to engineer both. So could this ignite your supermind moment? One where you can provide a common infrastructure to your network, maybe create hyper-specialized communities, and shorten the invention to innovation to impact cycle. Once again, most of these resources, actually all of these resources, are available online, they're open sourced. I'm happy to help, but you'll be able to go a long way with what has been published. And I really encourage you to go solve tomorrow's problems with tomorrow's intelligence. Let's go build superminds.